So let's see. I don't know that this sticky note has anything to do with this year. Who knows? My sticky note says 2 through 28 evens. Is that what we were assigned?
Yeah.
Well, look at that. I don't know why I left my note. My past self left my future self a note. Because usually I'm just like, what numbers did we do? I don't know. I don't know what I was doing, but there we go. Hey, how are you? Here you go. I have a present for you. So actually, before we do homework, y'all have quizzes back from last time. Are there any questions about the quizzes? We didn't do, our grades weren't significantly lower than what I expected or any of those things. If they are, I've done this for a class already in Algebra 2, especially since they have a test already. But if I grade a quiz and I have time and whatever else, I like this plan. It didn't take very long when I did it the one time so far this year. And so I probably will continue to do it for whatever classes. If the grades are like overall or like lower than what I think, okay, we clearly were confused, then I will make a really quick video like walking through the quiz and I'll put it on Google Classroom or whatever. So that was not necessarily the case, but that doesn't mean we don't have any questions. Does anybody have any questions from the quiz problems? So just to, and you may not. It wasn't awful. You may, if you didn't get 100, you may understand what you did and whatever else. If you didn't, that's when you would ask questions, right? If you don't understand what you did wrong, that's where you did it. You remember, we got to make sure we understand the flow, the learning flow of the class, right? It's really important because if you walk down the steps, then you'll like do really well in the class and you'll be really well prepared for the next thing. But if you don't walk down the steps, then you're liable to end up with gaps and you're liable not to get as much out of the class as you could. So we do the notes, we learn the topic, then we engage with the material and homework. We might be confused, we might not be confused, we might whatever else. We might think we're not confused and then realize when we go over the homework that we were in fact confused. And then we ask for help and we figure out those things and whatever else. And then we take a quiz on the material to see whether we were or were not eventually confused. And then if we're still confused, we ask questions after the quiz. And then hopefully by the time the test comes around, you'll be enough less confused that you'll make a decent grade on the test, right? So we walk down all those steps and we do well. So make sure that you're asking those questions. If you're like, I hate talking in front of people, I will die, just like text it to me or something, whatever. I don't care. Just like find a way. There's a lot of useful, high school, contrary to common belief these days, high school is a useful thing in your life. It is very useful. Most of why it's useful has nothing to do with polynomials or prepositional phrases, although some of those things can be useful. But we use things like prepositional phrases and polynomials and proofs to help you learn a skill set. And there are a lot of other adjacent skill sets that you get, and some of which you only get in the class setting. So take advantage of the fact that you're in a class setting. One of them is learning how to interact with other people, including teachers and older people, which y'all are homeschooled. So you're like, yeah, I got this, it's fine. But if you don't got this, then it's time to start stretching that comfort zone and working those things, because the more you learn how to advocate for yourself in your life, the better off you are. So that's one of the big things that we're learning in school. And so if you're getting your mommy and or whoever to email me about stuff, you should stretch that a little and do your own dirty work a little. That's good practice for you. You don't want to show up to a job interview later with your mommy there. There are apparently people your age and a little older that are doing that. I'll tell you right now, if I was hiring at any of the businesses that I own and a person showed up with their mommy there, I probably wouldn't hire them, and I definitely wouldn't let their mommy be in the interview room.
I wouldn't let my mom come. I would
So,
say, stay in the car.
yeah, but so so stretch those legs. So anyway, number 2, this is page 41. So our first assignment for the day. Number 2 is Ray X W. I can't talk. Ray XW and Ray XU. The order does matter because it's a ray, right? So that does matter. Number 4 is angle 1 or angle YXU. And remember on the YXU, the order matters, but only the middle one really, right? The angle YXU is the same as angle UXY, right? So we need that vertex of that angle to be in the middle of those letters. Other than that, it's okay either way. All right, so number 6 is obtuse, and it's 150 degrees. Number 8 is acute, and it's 25 degrees. If you're a little bit off on the angle on your protractor, that's fine. If you, for some reason, don't know how to use a protractor, holler about it when we do questions in a minute, and we'll make sure you understand how to do that. Excuse me. Number 10 is 98 degrees. Make sure you put the degrees. We won't necessarily learn about radians in this class, but eventually you'll learn about radians, which is a whole nother type of angle measure. Number 12 is Q. Good morning. Coming in together, but didn't ride together probably, or did you? Just there is more room down over here to like walk through, but whatever works for you.
Oh, that's weird. It's not usually the case.
There was a bad wreck on Marcia Sharp, and I got stuck trying
A
to take
bad wreck on Marcia Sharp, and you got stuck trying to take what?
my brother to do his GED at the Dream Center. All the way back.
Nice.
I'm all the way back.
Nice.
My excuse is that I have lots of younger siblings that were being problematic, and then I dropped my phone and it broke more, and my coffee spilled all over the car.
Sounds like a typical morning for you, right? Yeah.
Also, I did do my homework last night.
Eventually, yeah.
I wouldn't submit.
It wouldn't submit. Likely story.
Same thing happened to me.
That's what happens when you wait the last minute. Sometimes that's
I didn't wait
it's
till
kind of
the
like
last minute.
we get this is how this goes. If you happen to be a random person on the internet or whatever else that's watching this geometry video and learning along with us, sometimes we have to take little side breaks of life lessons with Sean. It has to happen. It's just part of the experience of my classes. But there's a lot of things that add risk in our life, right? Waiting to the last minute can work, but it adds risk, right? That's a thing. Things like debt and money. Debt can work. You can use debt. That's a thing that can happen. It's not necessarily wise because it adds risk. Unnecessary risk. So life, basically adulting, that stupid millennial word that's adulting, right? That's basically adulting. It's figuring out where the risk management lives. That's basically adulting right there.
To be fair, I didn't do it last minute. It just wouldn't turn into it last minute.
You what?
I didn't actually do it last minute. It just wouldn't turn in until later.
Same. And I also had issues with the uploading of images.
Yeah.
So figure it out. Because here's the deal. I have received assignments once now by email. That will never happen again. I will accept it through Google Classroom or not at all. I am not playing these games this year. Period. End of story. We turn it in. That is a y'all problem. Figure it out. If you need help, then we can help with that. But figure it out. It is a doable thing. It is a reliable service that works if you do it right. So figure it out. Turn it in correctly. I'm not doing that. That ain't gonna work. My math teacher in high school was like, okay, you have to have 2 columns, you have to skip a line between the thing, your header has to be this way, you have to fold the page to do the thing and whatever else, no little fuzzies on the thing, and that's how you have to turn in the thing. No dog ears, no staples, no whatever. That was what my high school teacher said back in the day. I am saying none of those things. If you turn in a quiz with fuzzies, I might give you a hard time about it, but I will take it and I will not do anything else. My thing this year is we are turning in work in Google Classroom, period. End of story. So figure it out. If you need help figuring out, I'd love to help you. I'm like technology guy. I'd love to help you. And we're turning it in that way, period, in the story. I'm not playing those games this year. I'm not going to look for work in 5 different places. That's no. Sorry. Sorry about you. Okay, back to where we were.
Technology guy.
Number,
How am I supposed to join the class live on Thursdays? Because we
We'll
said that
do-
was a good thing, so it's not.
yeah, I forgot about it. Text me last time if I forget again. I'll turn on Google Meets. We'll try it that way.
It's also fine if I can just get the video.
Right. Well, I mean, whatever is better for you. I don't honestly care. It doesn't change my, but so I just, all I need to do, because I've been putting the cord in my bag, and so all I have to do is put my laptop over there and plug it into the computer, and then we're good to go. So it's really not, so and then I need to turn on Google Meets, which should be like that thing, and if nothing else, we can do it through Discord or something, but yeah,
I
but,
honestly don't even need it live that much as long as the video is in my hands sometimes.
right.
Oh, the participation.
Yeah,
I
well,
participate just enough in one class.
if you have, yeah, so if I forget again, just text me and because it'll take me theoretically 2 minutes to like plug it in and go. Yeah, sorry. You're like the only person I'm doing that for, so I forgot. So anyway, number 12 is Q, number 14 is R, number 16 is Ray PT and Ray PQ. The order does matter, of course. Excuse me. 18 is segment MN and segment NR. Theoretically, the order doesn't matter, although you probably would do it with the starting at, yeah, do it that way. But since it's a segment, technically the order doesn't matter. Number 20 is angle MRS and angle SRM. The R has to be in the middle, of course. Number 22 is, here we go, you ready? Angle 4, angle SQM, angle MQR, angle RQM, angle NQS, angle SQN, angle NQR, angle RQN, angle PQR, angle RQP, angle PQS, angle SQP. Number 24 has multiple possible answers. The one that they give is angle VNQ. If there's a different one to use and you think you may or may not have got it right, be happy, just give it a holler and I can tell you, yeah, that's right, or no, it's because XYZ. Angle 26, excuse me, number 26 is P and T. Capital P, capital T, remember all that matters. Number 28 has multiple possible answers. The ones that they gave as examples are angle 6 and angle 8. What questions do we have on that lesson? That one's mostly a vocabulary lesson. Do we have? Number 10, the answer was 98 degrees.
On number 26, did we need to put both P and T?
Number 26, no, either one, because it says A point. Yep, either or. Yep.
Can we do number 10?
Yeah, sure. I can, well, and hopefully you'll be able to after I show you. That's the plan. All right, so we've got this thing, which we won't, for time's sake, take the time to draw beautifully. It's cute enough. It's got a good personality. He'll be fine. M, and this one's N, right? And JKL. Wait. Yeah, I thought J was in the middle. I don't know what I was thinking. J, K, and L. Beautiful. What?
Just kidding, lol, in my head was what JK.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Just kidding, lol. Yeah, that's great. All right, so on number 10, it says the measure of NKL is 7x minus 9. So on a problem like this, this is kind of adjacent to some of your earlier advice. You know, I recommended if you have a word problem and it doesn't give you a picture, to draw a picture, a quick sketch of the thing. That way you can understand what's happening. This one, it gives you a picture But it's going to be helpful to like scribble on the picture. And so you might want to like give yourself this.
Somebody scribbled in my book.
That happens sometimes. I don't recommend doing that. If you're renting a book from me, don't do that. And if you're probably going to like turn your book in for like money later, even if you bought your own book, which probably most of you will do, don't do that. Use your paper. I had one student that wrote in pink like all over their book. Like, okay, well, no, I don't want that book. Thanks for playing. They didn't really like me anyway, so it worked out fine. Okay, so if the measure of NKL, so where is, let me number these three angles so we have an easier way of talking, right? 1, 2, 3. Where is NKL? Is it 1, 2, or 3? It is 3, right? So NKL is that guy, right? So it's this one. So NKL is 7x minus 9. 7x minus 9. Great. Grand, glorious. Okay. So measure of NKM is x plus 3. So where is NKM? Angle 2. So x plus 3. All right, yeah. I thought that was what was going to. This is a good problem. I like it. And we want to find the measure of JKN. So we want to find this one. These colors are not consistent. This purple is like so dark, like obnoxiously dark. All right, so we're looking for that big thing. Love it. It's great. This kind of problem is one of the reasons why I love geometry, because it's about solving puzzles. That's what we're doing here. We've got a puzzle. We've got to figure out where the pieces go, right? So, tell me something we know about this picture.
K is the midpoint. That's what it said in the instructions.
Does it? Let's find out.
Well, KJ and K.
It does. It does. So KN bisects LKM. That's true. LKM. Oh, it bisects. Oh, this is an easier. Oh, this problem is easier than I thought. Dang it. I thought this was going to be a cool problem. This is more boring than I thought. That's fine. So that's good. Yeah, this is our first kind of puzzly problem, right? All right, because so far we've been like, here's a segment, here's a thing, we add them together, and Bob's your uncle, done, right? This is the first one we're like, okay, I got to twist stuff around in my brain and figure out what's happening here. So it says that KN bisects this thing. So the fact that they bisect, what does that mean?
X plus 3 is equal to 7x.
Yeah, it means that they're the same, right? So it means that, how do we mark pictures congruent? Not the line, with the little semicircles, yeah? So this is congruent to that, right?
And we,
Ask it. Or did you figure it out in your head? Or were you gonna add some more information?
we know that they're congruent
Because of the word bisects. Bisects means it cuts it in half.
right, and we know that they bisect
Because the little bold text says it.
oh, okay.
It's not
That.
a question, it's an instruction.
That is important, and that's that. I don't know how many times I get, and this won't be the last, and I don't know if that's what happened this time or not, but make sure you read like the instructions at the top. Very often it gives useful information that you can't solve the problem without sometimes. It's actually not the case this time. We actually could solve it a different way, but, okay. So we can set up that equation, x plus 3 equals 7x minus 9. We can do that because they're congruent. X plus 3 equals 7x minus 9. Then we can solve that thing. How do we solve that thing?
Subtract 3 from both sides.
What doesn't make sense?
Says the
have what angle at 5 degrees? Oh, this one at 5 degrees?
No,
So,
no. MKN and NKL.
oh, are both 5 degrees? Or is X 5?
No, X is 2.
X is 2. Let's see if you're right. So let's finish this and then I'll come back to that because that's a good like cognitive dissonance. So we'll come back to that. Very useful. Okay, so 7x minus 7x minus 3 minus 3. We ended up with negative 6x equals negative 12. Divide by negative 6. And we end up with x equals positive 2. And so yeah, if we plug that in here, we end up with 2 plus 3 is 5. And that would make that 5 as well. Five plus 5, 180 minus 10. Is there something we did wrong? Because 5 doesn't match what the key is giving us as the answer.
So that gives the answer to be 175.
Yeah, so let's see if we read something wrong. Did I label something wrong? JKL, and then M, and then N. And then
Because I saw that
7x.
JKM, it's JKM that equals X plus 3, not MKN. It's
J-
X plus 3 is on the JKM, not the MKN.
Oh, I did label something wrong. You were right. Okay.
Because the person who wrote in my book put the X plus 3 on the other one.
All right, let's look again. So NKL was correct. NKL is over here, and that's the 7x minus 9. That's still true. 7x minus 9. And let me see again. Did I read in the wrong place? JKM, so that's over here. Okay, good. This is a more interesting problem. Lovely. Is x plus 3. That's what I thought we were doing. Thought we were doing something where we had to use all 3 and the fact they're opposite rays. Good. Good job. So glad. And then, are we actually looking for JKN? Let's make so JKN. Okay, so everything else is great. All right. So everything we did over here was wrong. Great. Good job. Actually, it was right if it matched the picture, but it doesn't. Try again. Make sure you see. That right there is why you should draw you a little sketch and write it on there. Because then, yeah, and in pencil, right? That's why we use pencil, or at least whiteout in math class, right? I don't even actually remember what student it was, but one student was going to use pen in my class, but I don't even remember who it was.
What about erasable pen?
I hate those, but if you like it, then great.
I
I personally don't like using them. They don't work very well in my experience.
It's not good because if you leave your homework in the car, all your work's gone because they erase when you get home.
Right, yeah,
Oh.
that too, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, if you want to try using them, whatever, I don't care. I don't really care. You know, there are math teachers who be like, you have to use pencil. I almost died. That was a mean math teacher that tried to die.
My sisters found out that it erases with heat and it can come back if you get cold enough, and so they got a bunch of my homework and put it in the freezer.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Okay.
That's funny. That's cool. Okay, so maybe buy you some erasable pens to do some experiments with, but maybe don't use your math in it. Okay, so now we've got something more interesting. Yay. That's what I thought we were doing. This math problem was going to be dumb, but now it's not so dumb. All right. So, see if we can figure out what to do. Now it's confusing, right? Before it wasn't. Before it was like easy. We just find the things and then do some 180-degree mess, whatever else, which I actually just gave you a hint as something we know. So I'm going to ask the question that I asked before. What do we know about this picture? We already labeled one of them, right? That this is congruent to that, right? That's great, useful. What else do we know? What else does the bold text tell us?
The KJ and KL are opposite rays.
They're opposite rays, so what do that mean?
The JKL
The
is
angle of
180.
JKL is 180.
That's right, that's right. They are a straight line.
Are they so that means they're linear angles, or they're?
You mean linear pairs? Is that what you're, yeah. Okay, so no, we have there's no linear pair in this problem, but that's a great question because there's 1, 2, 3. 3 doesn't make a pair. No, it's a good question, like legit good question, because that gets confusing to some people all the time. And then when we get to proofs, people are struggling to try to come up with something, and they'll like try to call that a linear pair or something, and it just like no. So yeah, no, this is not a linear pair, but that they are all on a straight line. So the principle still kind of works. So a linear pair means this angle plus that angle is supplementary, which means they add up to 180, right? So the same principle works here. This plus this is 180 degrees, right? So we could almost certainly use that information, right? So let's see if we can build an equation that might be useful. I'm going to build it and then take a step back, and we'll see if we can understand what's happening. So we could say x plus 3 plus 2 times 7x minus 9 equals 180 degrees, but we don't usually put units in equations because it gets confusing. Okay, so what happened? What did I do? Why is that 2 there?
Because the 7x minus 9 and the MKN are the same.
That's right, because these two are the same. So this plus 2 of these equals 180. That's great. Now we have a solvable equation. What can we do to solve this equation? Distribute the 2. Sounds grand. Let's do it. So we've got x plus 3. What's 2 times 7x?
14x.
And then 2 times negative 9 is what?
8, negative 18.
All right, what now?
We get 15x.
Combine like 10.
15, yeah. 15x equals negative 15 equals 180. And then what would we do?
Add 15 on both sides.
Add 15 on both sides. Sounds good. $195. And then what?
Divide 15 on both sides.
Divide 15 on both sides. And what's 195 divided by 15? 13. So we can plug that in up here and do 13 plus 3. What's 13 plus 3? 16 degrees. And then we plug 13 in here. What's 13 times 7? 91 minus 9 is 82. If you don't currently have a calculator sitting there, pull it out. I shouldn't have to wait an hour and a half for a 7 times 13. And here's the deal. Here's the deal. I love you. I love you. I love you, little math brains. I love you, little people that can do math in your head. That's great. I love you. Love you, love you, love you. It's great. It's wonderful. Keep it up. It's a great skill. Don't lose it. And if you're sitting there going, this is this and this is this in your head, punch it in the calculator. Just punch it real quick. It's no big deal. It's fine. Use the tool. It's great. It's great. And if you want, and then on your homework or quizzes or tests, if you want to do you had great, do that, and then punch it in the calculator and see if your was right or matched or whatever. And if it doesn't match, then do it again. Use the tool. Use the tool. So this is 82 degrees. which means this is also 82 degrees. Now, are we done yet? Add them all together?
We just need to add 16 and 182.
Yeah, and one of the 82s. Yeah, English. 16 plus 80. You said something that was true and correct in all the words, but if we weren't in context, we would have all been confused. Because 16 plus 182 is different. What's 16 plus 82? 98. Geometry is different than algebra class. We use a different side of our brain. It's one of the reasons why it's a useful class. Is what I was talking about earlier, is what I've talked about before, what I'll talk about, this won't even be the last time, right? That the whole point of doing these things is we're exercising a specific part of our brain so that we can utilize that part later. When you're trying to problem solve later, or when you're trying to figure out things later in your life. You are probably never going to solve a problem like this ever again after you leave this class. Even if you're a math major, even if you're an engineering major, you probably are never going to solve a problem like this again in your life. Most of you, after you leave this class, will never write another proof in your life, ever. We're not teaching you how to write proofs so you can know how to write proofs. Now, the tiny handful of you that will go on and write a proof, you'll be glad that you have practiced it in high school. Except your college professor will want you to write the proof different, and probably she won't explain how she really wants you to do it. She'll just say, do it, and then everybody will miss it except this one kid that ends up helping all the other kids, and then we eventually kind of hopefully puzzle some things together. Ask me how I know. That is a very, very specific story because that happened. And then you will also take that same lady's husband for a different class, and he will also teach horribly, but you'll do okay. Actually, that class is the class that you'll end up dropping, but the other class you'll stick around with because it's linear algebra. That's what will happen. Oh wait, no, that was my story. Yeah, most of you will probably never do another proof in your life. We're not learning how to do proofs or this to do that. We're stretching that part of your brain where you have to take something apart and figure out how the pieces work and then put stuff back together. And then you do a little bit of easy algebra that you can do in your sleep at this point probably. And if you can't, that's okay. We're going to get lots of practice, right? The algebra bits are the easy bits. The taking this and turning it into this, that's the tricky part. And that's one of the main skills we're working on. So don't be afraid. Don't stare at it and be like, I don't know. Engage, try, get it wrong. And then come in here and be like, oh, that's what was going on. But try it. Don't leave it blank. Give it a try. Fail gloriously. Be a Viking. Run into battle and die on the sword of geometry.
Or just use magic like Helen.
Yeah. Use what?
Magic like Helen.
Magic like Helen. Oh, this Helen. I had just gotten through saying Viking, and I was thinking Helen was a Trojan. Yeah, it was like we're talking about two different civilizations, Jacob. What are you talking about? I'm confused.
The intelligence scores with this spellcast.
Oh. No, was that on Thursday? Did you miss the whole Helen does math magic
Oh,
thing?
I got the video, so.
Yeah, it's out. Oh,
The first day is out, but the second day is not.
the second day is not. You're
I
right.
have not gotten to see
I'm
that
just
video.
skilled that way.
I'm glad to see
That's going to be, you're going to see that in the camera. It's going to be the back of Helen's head. Okay. You're going to be famous. We're going to make you internet famous. Do you have any other questions on this lesson before we look at the other lesson?
20.
Number 20. Another name for each angle. Measure of angle 9. So angle 9 is that little bloopy doop right there. Sorry, people at home. Oh, it's a little bloopy doop. You'll have to take my word for it. And so, what is the vertex of angle 9? R. So so you could call it either SR M, right? Because the S and the M are on the sides. Or you could call it MRS. Either one of those would be right answers. Any other questions from this lesson before we look at the next one? Okay, let's look at the next one. Here we go. All right. My sticky note that for some reason, this is probably the only lessons that this exists in. No, it's in more. I've never done that before in my life, but apparently I did. Okay. My sticky note says we did 8 through 26 evens. Is that what we did? All right. There you go. All right. So number 8 has multiple possible answers. Multiple. The examples they gave are HGE and angle DGE. There are other ones for sure. If you want me to say yay or nay to your picks, I'm gonna give this spiel once because this is true for like all of these. If you want me to give you a yay or nay on yours, because they're different than the samples, then holler in a minute and I will do so. All right, so number 10, the sample answer is angle HGE and angle FGD. And number 12, the sample answer is, actually it doesn't even say sample answer, this might be the only one, don't know. Angle BCF and angle BAD, bad to the bone. If you, CBF does not work. The vertex has to be in the middle. Yeah, that's the sides can be flipped, that's fine, but the vertex has to be in the middle. Number 14, sample answer is BFC and BFD. And number 16, sample answer is angle JBF. 18 is sample answer is 67 degrees north of east. Since the measure of angle between north and east is 90, you can use the complement of the original angle and describe the direction as north of east instead of east of north. Number 20 is 12. If you put degree, this is a example of something that I don't like. I'm not super picky on. Technically, it would just be 12 and not 12 degrees because it's X and not the angle measure. But if you put degrees, I wouldn't count off for it on a problem like that. So. Number 22, X is 46 and Y is 18. Number 24, X is 22 and Y is 12. And 26 is 128 and 52. What questions do we have on those?
Probably 26, but could we do 22 first?
Sure, be totally fine. So this is the things in this lesson, this is where we learn vertical, yeah, all this stuff. So especially the linear pair, vertical angles, complementary, supplementary, all that stuff. This is stuff that will never leave us in this class. Never. So make sure you understand this vocabulary. Make sure you understand, and I'm like, these things, and you're able to just jump off and be like, okay, those are vertical angles, those are linear pairs, those are whatever. That will never leave us. We're going to use a lot of this stuff. Geometry builds like no other math class builds. We're going to be using stuff from chapter 1 all the way to the finish line. It's going to all kind of spiral and come together. So I'm encouraging you to make sure you memorize those things well. Make yourself flashcards, do something. You got this. And if for some reason one of them is not clicking and you're like, I just feel like I am not understanding what this is, vertical angles, whatever else, then let me know and I can help unstuck you. We can do it in office hours or whatever else. Or, we're in class, either way. All right, so we got this looking thing. We got 3x degrees here. And we've got 2x plus 6.
I think this is Y.
You're right. 2y plus 6. Is it plus? Yeah. Degrees here. And then we've got 8y minus 102 degrees there. And we're, no, not squared, degrees. And we're supposed to find x and y. We have to start with one of the variables. One of them we can't get to until we find the other one. So what do we need to do? We do need to find y. The two expressions that have y in them, what are those angles to each other? What special name do we give to those? Vertical angles, right? And if that didn't come to your mind immediately, that's what I'm talking about. It's not a problem. I'm not hollering at all. If you didn't look at that and be like, those are vertical angles, make sure you understand that ASAP, because it's going to keep on coming up. So vertical angles, what is their relationship to each other? Their measures are equal. They're congruent, right? So we can set up an equation where the two things are equal to each other, right? So 2y plus 6 equals 8y minus 102. Yeah? And then we can solve for y. That's easy peasy. You can do that in your sleep, right? If anybody is thinking, no, I can't, please don't stress. It's going to be fine. We're going to practice. The equations that we actually solve in this class are so similar, like all the way through. So just learn some patterns and then either fix your Algebra 1 or take Algebra 2 and, you're going to be fine. It's going to be all right. Don't stress. And if you are feeling some stress about it, take a few minutes out of your homeschool life and just do the Algebra 1 Khan Academy. Do like a couple lessons a day, and you'll be fine. What do we do now?
5/6, -6.
So y ends up equaling what? 18. Great. Okay, so now we got to find x. So how can we get to it?
I tried this, but I got 39 1/3, but I tried 3x and 8y equaling 180 but I did the equation wrong, so we could, is that,
Your thought process was correct. I'll put some stuff up here and see if you can figure out where your mistake was. So 3x plus the 8y. Now we know what y is, so put 18 in there, yeah. Minus 102 equals 180. Because these angles right there, what are they? They're supplementary. What fancy name do we give to them? A linear pair, right? And linear pairs are supplementary. That's great. So now we can solve this thing, right? So what do we do to solve this thing? Yeah, so 8 times 18 is what?
144.
Okay, and then we do combine the like terms, right? What's 144 minus 102?
46, 42.
42. Now what?
Subtract 42.
So 3x equals what? Now what? Divide by 3. 4 plus 8 is 3. Yeah, it does work. So x equals? Did you figure out where you went wrong? Probably something simple.
So I got the same answer, but I don't know where I did it.
Uh-oh. See? Yeah.
She gets the same answer, but she didn't do it.
She can't figure out where it came from.
It's just a task failed.
I think I just skipped
Yes,
a couple
yes.
lines, but whatever reason. Or,
Well, and And you have my permission, not that you need it necessarily, but more than you would in Algebra 1 to kind of do that a little bit. Like if you went all the way from this line to this line, I wouldn't gripe real hard at you. Like you punched this in your calculator, did it twice to make sure you didn't break it, whatever else. So, but with one caveat, now this is important. I think I've said this already, but it bears repeating, that if you want to skip some intermediate steps sometimes, it's okay at this point. You've got a lot of practice doing the things. However, if you find yourself making a lot of careless mistakes, then slow down and put some of those intermediate steps back, because it'll help fix that problem. Because careless mistakes are usually made when you're moving too quickly, or your fingers are moving at different speed than your brain, right? Whatever else. So slow down. So if you're making careless mistakes, slow down and put them back.
I divided 10 somewhere, and I just erased it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you did. I can't tell you.
Can we do 14?
Yeah, sure. 14. A linear pair whose vertices is f. So there's two possibles, right? So, hello? So there's two possible ones. Where are the linear pairs? There's two, actually, no, there's even more. There's three sets. Where are they? BFD and what other angle forms a linear pair? A has three angles at it. BFD and CFB, yes, absolutely. That would be the linear pair that's going this way. DFE, yeah, you call it DFE or DFG, either one. So DFE with BFD, yeah, both of those, yeah, would make a linear pair. That would be the one that's going this way. And there's also one on the bottom, right? One underneath, that's CFE or CFG, either one, and DFE as well. Are you seeing those, or you need me to come point at your book?
I see them, I just don't understand how they're linear.
How they're linear pairs.
I did vertical pairs.
So this is a linear pair, right? Because this is a straight line. So this one and this one would be. And then this one and this one would be. Right? Because these two form or are the straight line. So this one and this one.
Oh, I understand.
Great. Easy money. What other questions do we have on this lesson?
Can I check my answers for 8, 10, and 16?
Yeah. What did you do on 8?
JAD and BAD.
Yep, that's great.
Okay, so the answer, oh, sorry.
On number 10, I have BFD and CFG.
So let me see what it's two obtuse vertical angles. And you said which ones?
BFD and CFG.
BFD. We can say that. That would be legal. And you said CFG. CF. Yeah, because they're congruent because they're vertical angles. So yeah, you could say that on that one as well. Mm-hmm.
Alright, and then on 16, I had ABF.
16 is its angle supplementary, and you had ABF. So let's say CFB. And you said which one?
ABF.
ABF. So
Is the 60 not in angle CBF?
the 60 is angle CBCF. But we don't know, so we could probably prove that it was, but we can't, but it's looking, so it's not, so it's looking at, it wants you to give something that you could directly say it. So basically it's asking for something that would be a linear pair with it. Is what it's, so you probably could, there's enough stuff on that like we could probably walk and prove that it was, and so your answer is probably technically correct and probably actually technically we probably have enough information to get there. You can't just say it in one step. Does that make sense?
All right.
So, yes, it's right. It's probably not quite what it's looking for. So I would maybe get that actually brings up another really good point worth making. Is if I am grading something, a quiz or a test, and I mark something wrong, but you can come back and successfully argue with math, not just like yell at me, but like successfully argue, no, this is right and this is because of this, then you can get the points back. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Like I may have missed something in whatever you're doing or whatever else. And a problem like this, they're gigantic pain to grade because you can't like for those problems 8 through 17, you can't even make a key like that's useful. Like normally a key is great. You know, you go and you look and you first, did they get the answer? No. Does it match this? And you just check boxes. This, I have to sit there and be like, okay, this, okay, yes, this. You know, I have to basically do the problem with you every time. And so I might miss something. So if you think, I gave you something back and you're like, I'm pretty sure that this is right because X, Y, Z, you'll either be correct or not, that's fine, whatever, but don't be afraid to be like, I'm pretty sure that I did this right. Make sense? Like that one, I probably would have given you back those points in that moment, basically, if you had gotten that, like, if that was a quiz or something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay.
On 14, my answer was BFD and GFD.
BFD is one of the samples, so let's see. You said GFD? What is it saying? Linear pair. BFD, and GFD. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and then on 8, I said
ADC and EDC. Yeah, that's fine. Well, yeah, that's fine. I would have gone for the little one, but yours is also technically correct.
That's a guide. Correct.
Sure, why not? That is a quote from something. But
we did 24.
24 oceans. Yeah, it looks fun. We got a line going like that. We got a line going like that, and another one kind of going like this. Got the same vertex right there. Great. And this one, yes, this one is 3x minus 24 degrees. We've got this little doobie-flotchy, which is 2y, and 114 degrees right here, and 5x plus 5x plus 4 degrees here. And we are supposed to find x and y, right? Nice. Trixie Hobbits this problem is like, gives you some information on there that you don't use, but it seems like you would use it, and then you use it again later. So, here is tip number, I don't know, 1-ish on problems like this. Okay, so problems where they give you a picture that looks like geometric shapes that we've learned something about with a bunch of letters and numbers shoved on it, and they're like, YOLO, go find some numbers, go figure it out, right? Problems like this. So you're like, oh my gosh, there's so many things happening. My advice to you is to find something you know, something you can tell from the picture, make an equation from it, And hopefully you have one variable in that equation. If not, you're gonna have to make a system. But is there anything on here that we can like say? What's some relationship that we know about?
5x plus 4 equals 114.
Yeah, why? What are they?
They're vertical angles.
Yeah, it's vertical angles. So these two work, and so we can go ahead and make that equation. And then once you've made an equation, so what I was saying is when you make an equation, go ahead and make the thing. It might come in handy later. And if you look at it, hopefully the equation you made has one variable on it. If it doesn't, then that equation may be useful, but not yet, right? So this one has one variable. So if you make an equation that's got one variable with it, what should you go ahead and do with it? Solve it. Go ahead and do it. Easy peasy, right? No big deal. So we're going to add 4 to both sides, right? Yeah, that's the one. That's totally what I said. I don't know what y'all are talking about. And then divide 5. Wow, that's a pretty 5. X equals 52, maybe, right?
Yeah, 22.
Oh, wait, it's divided by 5, isn't it? Yeah, that's totally what I meant. Y'all don't even know. Your ears aren't working right today. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. That's helpful.
And then
Now what?
plus 24 equals 2y, and put the 22 in for the x.
That's close.
114 plus 2y plus 3x minus 24 equals 180.
Yeah. So we can't, these aren't equal because they're not a linear pair or whatever, or vertical angles. But this plus that is 180, right? Because they're on a straight line. Yeah. So we can do that. 114 plus 3 times x, which we know is 22, minus 24 plus the 2y equals 180 degrees. These two types of equations are the types of equations you're going to write for 99% of these types of problems. Either this equals that, or this plus whatever equals 180. With a handful of this plus this equals 90 thrown in for spice every once in a while. But those types of equations are pretty much the only types we're going to use, pretty much. All right, so here we go. What's 3 times 22?
66.
And then 114 plus 66 minus 24 is what?
156.
Somebody else agree? All right. And then we subtract 156. Fives are just getting more and more special as we go along. What's 180 minus 56? 24 divided by 2 is 12. We did it. Look, Mom, I did it. I think it's 10. So, leave.
No. 26 I could not figure out for the last.
26 is a straight up algebra problem. 20